Welcome back, everyone, to my YouTube channel. And as you all know, this is Hope Bennett. Many know me as Sibusiso Sitole. And yeah, most people in the Potchefstroom, Northwest, they know me as Sibusiso because that's cool. I use that name. But everyone in Soshanguve, Pretoria, Be It, Winterfeld, and some people in Hammaskral, F4, yeah, and New Stress, they know me as Hope. So on this video, as I said, this is not a vlog. This is gonna be about my testimony. Are you ready for it? Ready or not? Here it goes. So, how did I come to be a believer in Jesus Christ? Most of you might be asking yourself that question. How did this guy, Pawan Chivara, get his boy, get mama's boy, the boy in a little fun narsogodisa, all that kind of stuff. And I'm out here like, yeah, I was that. I'm not even denying, but here is what I want to tell you. Jesus Christ did his work in me. And I want to witness through this video. It doesn't mean if you haven't got there, you can't change. It's like you can't change for yourself, but this story or this testimony, I hope that it does show you hore, Jesus Christ really can change you. He can turn a heart of stone into a heart of flesh. So, first things first, it was around first. I don't remember the years, Joe. It was around, when did I start? Yeah, so as I was saying, it all started in 2014. Got 2014, that's where everything started not making sense, but yeah, the confusion was getting worse. Okay, let me take you on how I was raised. Let me give you a review. So I grew up with a single mom, raised by a single mom, and I grew up in a household where it was my younger sister and I with my mom. My other brothers stayed elsewhere, so didn't have a father figure or brotherly, influence in my life. So I did whatever pleased me and whatever seemed good to the eyes of my friends, those I have outside the family and all that. And okay, so that was it. And I didn't. My brothers lived elsewhere with my dad, my father. So I did not have their influence in my life. So I was influenced more by my friends in the streets, which were naughty, very naughty, and my cousins who stayed close. Even at school, the friends that you have are the ones who played the most role. I would always come home late. Ever since the time maybe I can remember myself playing with my friends, we would be doing some naughty stuff, fighting, being involved and cussing other people. And this kind of stuff is like you enjoy them when you are young. You're like, yeah, we did something. Hey, we started that person. As boys, you find it as kind of an adventure to see how you can get yourself or your adrenaline to beat and your heart to beat fast, and then at the end of the day be successful at whatever you're doing. So yeah, that's the kind of boy I was raised as. I grew up liking to explore, but I was exploring almost like the wrong things of life. We used to even go to the jungle somewhere at close to Block W. There's a place called what was the place? The place was called Brown Chocolate. At Brown Chocolate, like it was almost like a dam, a little dam, and we used to swim there, and it was so brown because the water was always filled with a bunch of people. And yeah, we were not scared if we would die or whatever. I'm just giving you a review. So our parents will tell us, if you go to the jungle and swim there, you will die. Honal mamha shwa, you grew up with this type of what the superstitions. And I was always I don't mind my language, a daredevil. A daredevil is like someone who dares, who always says, okay, let me see if this thing exists. And I would go there, and sometimes I would disobey my mom just to try things out, because I see she's a female and I'm a guy, so she won't understand most of the things that I'm going through. But then, yeah, fast forward, I was very rebellious, as I said, to my mom, and I would justify myself. I ended up finding myself stealing from my mom, stealing from her pairs, stealing from everything that I would want to take at home without their permission. I would take it. And I ended up taking this habit to school. I remember I once even stole someone's money and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. No, in those times, people carried 5 rand or whatever. So the one who had 5 rand had a lot of money. And if you didn't have it, you are tempted, you see. So it's not funny, but yeah. Then there came a time when I moved from primary. All of this started in primary. This crazy attitude started in primary when I went from grade 6 transitioning to grade 7. That's where I started witnessing some things in my life which I didn't knew existed. So my mom was going to a Christian church somewhere in F4. Yeah, that's where I can say I was raised, because I was going to the Sunday school there and we were being taught. But we were making fun of the teachers. We were mocking them, making jokes, me and my cousin. We couldn't even focus. Our parents were even asked, What's wrong with these kids?" And it was crazy. But yeah, thank God things changed. But they took a severe way. It's like God chose the hard way with me, because I can tell that was hard. Not many Christians experienced what I experienced. So that's the reason I'm recording this, to testify to you people out there. So I came home, and now in my yard, or my mom's yard, we stayed with this other person who was renting. He was renting one of the shacks. We had a shack. So he was renting a shack here at Block V. So as he was renting that shack, yeah, he seemed to be a prophet. He said he's a prophet, and those Shona people from Zimbabwe who come and make they call them churches under the bushes, under the trees. If you're walking somewhere in the jungle, you might come across them, or you are going through a highway with your car, you might meet them on the roadside, and they're having these flags. I don't know what flags are those, but they're probably not military. But yeah, back to the story. This guy came and rented, and as he rented, he was going to work far from Soshanguve. So as a trickster, as a boy who was naughty, I was like, okay, today is not here. And I found out he did not lock his door, you see, the shack that he was living in. And I was tempted to go and steal. And guess what? I went. I went there. There was no fear of, I fear God or I fear who. I just went. And when I got there, his room had like wools, wool, green wools, red wool, tied on the 4 corners of the shack on top. And he had a little box on top of the table, a red box. It had wools tied with 2 wools, red and green. And I was like, this is interesting. What's this? Because I was an atheist in heart. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe, like, in my conscious mind, I didn't believe there's a God. But if you would ask me, are you a Christian? I would say I'm a Christian. And you ask me, who do you believe in? I would say God. You know why? Because at my home we didn't do what you call speaking to the dead people, hopala and all that. We didn't do that. My mom was raised in a Christian family also. So I thought I was a Christian because my mom is a Christian. So yeah, when I came there, I was doing these things because I didn't believe in God. Now that I'm aware of it. So I took the box, looked at it, and I was like, this guy is trying to trick me. He just puts, silly wools on top of the box. What can happen? He thinks he has magic. Look, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to chow it, and nothing will happen because I don't believe in this stuff. I had that mentality that things happen because you believe them. Magic is gonna happen on you, or witchcraft, since you believe it. At my home, we didn't believe in dead people speaking to us, so it made sense to me that they don't come and want me to be a sangoma or there's no communication between us. But I looked at people who speak to them and they continue going deep into that speaking to the dead thing. So in my mind, I didn't observe these things, but growing up as a child, it's like your mind is always learning. If you see things happening, okay, you get used to it. So I was used to that kind of stuff. So I stole the money. I remember there was a lot of 5 rands and coins, South African coins, and some coins were somewhere in Africa, from somewhere in Africa, but I can't remember the countries. And I put those aside. I was like, "This is not money. This is not money. This is money." Then I went out, and I remember it was that time Yeri Kotani. So I had to go out to the park and buy the Ultra Mela and act like I'm rich, like I was crazy, man. And act like I'm a rich kid. Pouring out the Ultra Mela, dairy milk, chocolate. And I couldn't return home with the money. I think it was close to some 300 or something. And that time, guys, currency was, yeah, it was it. It was before, yeah, inflation and all that. So it was a lot of money. I couldn't even finish 100 rand, I think. So I had to give people money. And I did that. Then I went back home. When I got home, my mom was also working far off. So the only people who were left at home, it was me, my younger sister, and there was a brother from my aunt who used to come and check us. Sometimes we would spend the night. But the day that I stole the money, I come back home, I find my mom at home. And guess what? She asks me, like, what did you do today? I'm like, what did I do? Hey, I did a lot of crazy stuff. In my mind, I'm like, I did a lot of crazy stuff. Maybe she's talking about me fighting that person, or maybe she's talking about me. I did a lot. When you're a person who likes doing wrong stuff, even like a thief, when police come, they don't know if they just become scared. Like, hey, is this guy coming for me? So even me, when my mom asked me, what did you do? I thought of the many things that I did in a day that I couldn't tell which one she's asking about. So I was like, no, you know what? Let me act smart. Mom, you tell me what I did. And she was like, okay, I will tell you. And I listened. Then she said, the guy who rents here at our place, his name was Booty. I remember. Booty. And he said, no, yeah, Booty said his dead ancestors and his grandmother and grandfather, who are gone, by the way, they passed away, they told him through a phone call, they told him that I stole their money. And I was like, are you are you kidding me? I was like, are you kidding me? That's gotta be a joke. In my mind, I'm like, I didn't even take that serious. I was like, oh, okay. The only thing I was scared of is being, smacked, getting a whoop, because a whoop, man, they will hit you on your butt. And my mom used to beat me, but didn't work. So I was afraid that, hey, she will beat me. But the ancestor stuff, those are fairy tales. You are telling me about a fairy tale now. No, that can't happen. Okay, fast forward. First day I enter my room. I slept alone. It was a boys' room. It's still there in Block V where I stay. Boys' room. I had the single room was owned by me alone, and the other room was my mom and my younger sister. So when I go to my room, I was rude, man. I didn't want to share a room with anyone. It was not even being rude. I think it was the way I was raised and where I was raised. Guys have this thing that they go to the initiation schools, then you're a man and you can't sleep with your sisters. But I took that, even though I didn't go to initiation schools, I took that to myself that, I'm a man. I don't have to share a room with anyone and all that. So I slept alone and I wasn't scared, like I was used to it. So this other day I go into my room after being told those news. Then I remember I got in my room and I had a lot of some things on the rooftop, on the top of the roof, and they sounded like it's like a sound of wind pushing the soil on top of the roof. It was normal, like, And afterwards, it sounded as if something like, birds be moving on top of the roof, and it makes sense. Those are birds, and they're moving. But like, it happened to a point I was like, hey, these birds, why are they so spending much time here? And yeah, I was starting to question it, but I was not afraid. Mind you, I didn't believe there's anything spiritual. I would just say, okay, it's normal. So that was day one of stealing from a false prophet. Then day two, I came back from school, and the day went on as normal. Then after that, I had to go to sleep. Now this is the second day, but the first day of it getting worse.